Oh, hello, folks. Welcome. Welcome to the Zonal Weakness for Double Game Week 33. I keep forgetting it's a double game week again, back to back double game week. And of course, this is the Zonal Weakness for Double Game Week 33, brought to you by Gono Football Fantasy, powered by Fantasy Football Scout. And look who's back with us. It's Bethany. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah, last I think I saw you in Game Week 29, which was a blank game week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a month. It's been a month since I've seen it. Wow. Wow. I mean, it did come across as a very, very long time with no FPL and the breaks. And then, you have this double game mix and the blank game mix in between. And, now the important game mix are coming and we are back again. So that's good. So how are you? How was your game week? How did the double game week 32 treat you?
It was all right actually. Like I did pretty well in the end. There was disappointing moments definitely. I brought in Asensio, so there was lots of hope and promise there, and obviously ended up with 2 missed penalties. So he
My condolences.
Thank you. I spent most of the week with Murphy as my captain, and then chickened out. So I went triple captain this week. So I just couldn't cope with the idea of potentially Isaac hauling with me on Murphy and being outscored by people who'd just done a normal captain while I had my triple captain in play. So I went safe, went Isaac. So I was very pleased when his goal went in eventually, because there was a lot of goals for Newcastle and he didn't score very many of them. So it's disappointing. I feel like he could have got more. And obviously when people played on Salah or Haaland earlier on in the season, they got kind of huge hauls. But also I know people who played it and got like 6 points or something from a Haaland or a Salah on another point. So yeah, it wasn't great, but it ended up quite nicely. I had like Pickford in goal who did really well. So yeah, I ended up on 94 points and went from around 580k to 430k. So managed to go inside the top 500k for the first time since game week 19. So
That's progress.
I've been fluctuating between like 500 and 650k for ages, so it felt nice to finally push through that barrier. So could have been better, but also like it was a really good game week in the end when you look at the score and the progress. How about you?
Well, I would say I played my bench boost. I somehow didn't feel the Isaac captain, which I was kind of triple captain. I was determined I'll do it. But then, his form in Game Week 30 or Game Week 29, I don't remember, then in 31, didn't really come across as very promising. And I felt like, this is not really, just because everybody's caught with the hype, why should I? And then also looked at the Zona last week when we were doing with Sankap. I didn't feel it really. So I kind of then decided not to play the triple captain and go with bench boost because I played the wild card in 31. And I had a good bench boost team, to be honest. I had Raya, who I ended up conceding goal in the after 90 minutes, so that's good. And then I had Rashford, who went off, and then Asensio came in and ended up missing 2 penalties, which is again very good. And then I had Konate, which is again good. Again, 90 minutes, Robertson own goal, which is great. Thank you, Robertson. And then I had Neco Williams, again, 90 minutes. So, yeah, overall, from the bench boost, I got 9 points, which is massive. I think there was only the bench and no boost. I'm kind of taking this from Mira's thumbnail. She said all bench, but no boost, which is true.
I think predictions though. 9 points isn't great. I know we normally aim for about 20, but I definitely saw people with 4 points, 5 points that had zeros on their bench, ones. So 9 points isn't great, but there was definitely a lot of people that got even less than that, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah. So beside that, I don't think so I can complain much because I had Eight Nuri who was actually playing. So I kept him and he got 14 points. So that's that. And then I took Saka out and got Murphy in. Finally. And then, Murphy did what Murphy did. So I ended up getting 90 points. And then I moved up about 200,000 K rank above. So it's good. I'm kind of now hovering around the 500,000, slightly below that rank. So I'm hoping to touch that rank very soon with the triple captain and the bench boost. Sorry, the free hit, which I still have. But yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. But anyway, this is another good game week, and there is the debate about whether KDB is a good option or whether Saka is a good option. But we'll get into that. But this is the zonal game week, and of course, our audience, if you haven't followed or liked or subscribed to our channels, please do so. We are producing regular content, and thank you so much for the support that you had shown in the last video, whereas Bethany had joined in back in game week 29. It received the highest number of views that we ever got. So we would really appreciate a reputation of that on a regular basis. That would be great for us, at least in terms of the work that we put in. So thank you so much for that. And all the stats that you see are taken from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you're interested in the membership, click in the link in the description below, and you would get a 40% discount that still runs. And of course, there's a month left for the season to end, but the campaign would, I think, likely to continue. So in case you're interested in the next season, you can still get it. So yeah, good luck with that one. Right, let's move to the content here. And this is the first slide focuses on the double game week, and the second slide would focus on the single game week, just for the audience clarity. Yeah, so over to you, Bethany, with this one.
Yeah, so first up, we've got Arsenal. And it's interesting, obviously, actually, because the positions that look nice for Ipswich are the opposite for the ones that look nice for Crystal Palace. So the one that's appearing for Crystal Palace is chances conceded down the centre, and that's the worst for Ipswich's. So it's kind of hard to kind of balance about who you should go for. I personally like Saka. I think ranked first for chances conceded down the left flank for Ipswich, and crosses conceded from the left flank for Ipswich as well. Ninth for crosses conceded down the left flank, and eighth for chances. So they're still pretty reasonable for Crystal Palace, and we've seen Crystal Palace completely fall apart this last game week twice. So I think that could be a really nice game. The only worry with him is minutes. Obviously, they're still got other fixtures outside of the Premier League to play, and Saka is coming back from injury. So, but I think hopefully if he can get kind of 60 minutes across 2 matches, something like that, I think Saka's the one I'd be going for there. Next up, we have Crystal Palace, and I mean, most of us have already tripled up on them and didn't really get much back from them. So I think if you've got them, you probably keep them now because they've got the double, but there's nobody standing out here other than Mateta with headers conceded. Nobody else is standing out there at all for the zonal weakness. So I think don't buy any of them this week. If you've got them, keep them because they've got the double. Next up, we've got Man City. And it's definitely Marmoush who's standing out here across both games. Chances conceded down the right flank is third for Everton and fifth for Villa, and then crosses conceded fourth for the right flank. So Marmoush is the one I'd go for if you don't already have him. I think he could make a really nice captain with the double this week. I also just like the punt of De Bruyne. I know he's not standing out on the zonal here, but 9th and 6th is not bad. I just think we haven't got long left of Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League, or at least at Man City. We don't know his future. So, for a bit of that nostalgia, I quite like a punt on Kevin De Bruyne. He looked amazing. Obviously got loads of points last week. So, yeah, I do quite like him as another choice if you wanted to go somewhere. But I would go for him on top of Marmoush. Go for Marmoush first. Then we've got Villa. And Villa are another really tricky team at the moment. Obviously, again, they've also got fixtures outside of the Premier League that they're rotating around, and they've got a good enough squad that they can rotate, which makes it really tricky for us. The ones standing out here, interestingly, are Asensio and Marlon, whoever starts down that left flank. I obviously went to Asensio last week. That was my transfer in, and didn't get paid back for it. But we know he can return, and the zonal looks good from this week as well. I was listening to the Goals Imminent podcast earlier, and I think even without the penalty misses, he was still massive underachiever last game week. He should have had a goal from open play as well. So I think he might not be one that you want to trust bringing in, but I think if you've got him like I have, I think you trust him and hope that he gets that start again, and could look good even if he comes off the bench. To be honest, he's done quite a few hauls off the bench too. Otherwise, I think the safest player is Rodgers, because he's the one that's most likely to start both games, I think. Otherwise, it's a shame, actually, because obviously the zonal doesn't suggest any particular weaknesses for the other two teams. I think both Newcastle and City will be tough games, even though Villa are on form. So, yeah, I'd probably go Rodgers as your safe bet, Asensio as your fun pick from the zonal.
Okay, I went for Rashford, so yeah, I don't think so we need to talk about that at this moment, right? Okay, let's move. Right. Okay, let's move on to the single game week then, and here it is. This looks a little bit more whiter than the previous chart, but yeah, over to you, Bethany, with this one.
Yeah, so I think Liverpool players are great, whether they're in your starting 11 or whether you're bench boosting with them on the bench as your single game weekers. Liverpool are definitely a good team to have this week. Salah, obviously, it's Leicester. We know that Leicester have been conceding loads of goals. So I think even with the single game week, Salah is quite an interesting captaincy choice this week still, because you know he's going to play and yeah, could easily get multiple returns. Leicester also are struggling to score. So somebody like Bradley would be a nice pick because he can get both attacking returns and hopefully keep that clean sheet. I think the other kind of attacking players are a little bit harder to call. Your Jota, Diaz, Gakpo, because not all of them are going to start. So it's trying to pick who that is. I'd probably lean towards Diaz as being the one most likely to get that start. And obviously it looks good for him down the right flank if he does. But yeah, Salah and potentially a defensive option like Bradley could be really nice. Then we've got West Ham and yeah, a few nice options here as well. Bowen is always the one I would go for, and chances conceded down the centre for Southampton, they're ranked first, so he could be really nice there. He's also got the options of headers. And if you wanted a bit of a punt, especially on if you've got a bench boost and you need some defender slots filling in, I do like Wan-Bissaka. They could get the clean sheet against Southampton, but he also has been known to get some attacking returns this season too. So ranked fifth for crosses conceded down the left flank, and he doesn't mind a goal either. So yeah, be Bowen and Wan-Bissaka for me. If you wanted to fill your bench with some single game weekers that are fairly reasonable priced and got a good week. Next up, we've got Villa, and yeah, I thought Villa were fairly strong defensively, but actually looking at this, they're not. There's definitely options there. So Barnes or Gordon, whoever starts on that right flank, Murphy, Trippier, all looking good options. Not Isaac, sadly, particularly, although he is only ranked 6th, so just outside the white zone for conceded down the centre. It's making it very tricky to sell Murphy. He's put in such a good effort over the last few weeks in my team and properly saved me. And looking at this, he could haul again this week. So, yeah, there's some decisions to be made about whether or not double game weekers are worth it or not. I think, especially when some of your double game weekers are players like Crystal Palace who haven't done particularly well, or Asensio who you're not sure whether or not it's going to start. Yeah, Murphy is holding on and trying to stay in my team, and yeah, it looks good from here. Bournemouth play Palace this week, and the one standing out here is Evan Nielsen, who is really interesting because I was looking at he was in my team a few weeks ago and I enjoyed owning him. And yeah, chances conceded down the centre, Palace are ranked 4th for that, so he could turn out really nicely this week. He's also got Man United up next, again, who like to concede down the centre. And then before the end of the season, I think last week of the season, I think they've got Leicester. So could be a nice player to bring in for the rest of the season if you went there. Then we've got Bournemouth and a few players standing out here again. Matoma, Adringa, Pedro, Welbeck, Minter, March, all look good from the zonal. It's tricky again. Brighton like to rotate. Sometimes João Pedro is starting, sometimes as Welbeck, sometimes they're both. So it's whether or not, if you've got one of those players, definitely start them. Could be a good week for them. It's just trying to pick out who's best. People obviously who had bench boost last week with João Pedro came out really nicely. So yeah, it probably would be João Pedro or Minter for me, I think. No Brentford players standing out there. I've got Mbeumo currently, and I think he might be one of the ones that give way to a double game weeker for me this week. Wolves, Larson on Manetzi down the centre, Sarabia, Osamendo, left flank. I think Strand Larson is quite an interesting pick. I do like him. He's been quite good while Kuna's out. I know Kuna's back, but I think he could continue to hold his own, and they've got some decent fixtures coming up. They also play in the blank if people don't have a free hit. So yeah, a nice choice there. And then finally we've got Spurs, Johnson, Porro, the ones that stand out here. But Spurs are Spurs, and they've just not been consistent at all. So again, if you've got them, play them, especially Johnson. I do think he's the best option there, but I wouldn't be buying anybody.
Spurs being Spurs. Okay, that's enough said. Yeah. That's enough. Okay, let's move. Here's the Zona team of the week. What do you think? Anyone that you think is really not worth it?
No,
or should be missing?
It's interesting seeing somebody like João Pedro up there, obviously with the single game week rather than a double game weeker like Watkins or something like that, or Mateta. Like all these players that we thought would be brilliant this week, and actually, like, there's a single game weeker getting in the team ahead of them because they're just not very consistent at the moment, whether they're going to start, whether they're going to stay on the pitch. I think I do really like the triple up on the Man City. Man City seem to have found some pace, especially through De Bruyne. They may get another double later on as well. But yeah, I really like the three of them, that triple up there. I like Rodgers. I think he's a must. I think he's going to be so highly owned, and he can. He's the one that's going to play the most minutes, I think, out of any Villa player. So he's a good shout there. Saka, again, I really like. It's just his minutes, but I hope he gets enough. And we know he can do. Like on the first game back, he got like 20 minutes and came on and scored or whatever. So I like that. Salah, you can't go look beyond Salah and Bradley when they're playing Leicester. And then, yeah, it's nice to see some punts in there, like Trossard or Cash, who are more lonely owned. I do like, again, a Villa defender. They've got tough game weeks, but they can get some attacking returns. And, yeah, again, might get another double game week going forward as well. So, yeah, some nice... A mixture between template picks and some nice punts.
Yeah, interesting combination. And thanks for spotting that João Pedro pick there. But yeah, that's that for this week then. Thanks, Bethany. And I'll see you for game week 35, right? And which is just ahead of 36, which is going to be likely the double for Man City. Probably. It's not yet confirmed. But anyway, thank you so much for joining in. And it's been a pleasure. And audience, as usual, please do share give your support. Thank you so much. We'll be back again next week. But until then, take care. All the very best. Bye-bye.